Before there was psychology, there was myth. Humanity once spoke of gods and spirits, of heavens and underworlds, never realizing that each of these stories was a mirror, reflecting a reality not outside, but within. Today we call this inner world the psyche, an inner cosmos as vast and mysterious as the outer one. But few of us ever stop to ask, what is the hidden architecture of this inner world? The great pioneer of depth psychology, Carl Jung, once wrote that the psyche is reality. In his revolutionary model, the mind is not a single, unified entity, but a living, breathing system composed of distinct yet interconnected layers. Think of it like a temple, with many chambers, each holding a different aspect of who we are. At the very surface, the part we are most familiar with is the ego. This is the island of our waking consciousness, the I that thinks, plans, and perceives the world around us. It's the part of you listening to my voice right now, making sense of these words. The ego is the gatekeeper, the captain of the ship, navigating the waters of everyday life. But just beneath the surface of these familiar waters lies a much deeper, more mysterious ocean. This is the realm of the personal unconscious. Imagine it as a vast hidden archive beneath the main floor of the temple. It's where all our forgotten memories, our repressed emotions, and the subtle, unseen forces that shape our daily reactions are stored. Have you ever had a strong, inexplicable reaction to someone you just met, or felt a sudden wave of sadness without knowing why? That is often the personal unconscious speaking, sending ripples up to the surface from its hidden depths. It holds the keys to our personal history, the unhealed wounds and undeveloped potentials that quietly influence our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. But Jung's exploration didn't stop there. He ventured even deeper into a realm that connects all of humanity. He described something extraordinary, the collective unconscious. This isn't just your personal archive, it's the foundational blueprint of the human mind itself, a shared psychic ground that transcends individuals, cultures, and even time. It is a common heritage, an inherited ocean of experience that we are all born with. This collective layer is filled with timeless, universal patterns that Jung called archetypes. These archetypes are the original architects of our inner world. They are the primal forms, the universal symbols that appear again and again in our dreams, myths, religions, and art. The wise old man, the great mother, the hero, the trickster, the shadow. These aren't just characters in stories. They are fundamental structures of the human psyche. They shape our dreams, our relationships, and even our sense of destiny. When we are drawn to certain stories or feel a deep resonance with a particular character, we are connecting with an archetype that is active within our own soul. They are the invisible blueprints that give structure and meaning to our inner lives. The modern mind often believes it has outgrown myth, dismissing these ancient stories as simple, primitive explanations for a world we now understand through science. But this perspective misses the profound truth that myth was never truly about explaining the outer world. It was always about mapping the deep structure of human consciousness. Myth is the native language of the psyche. When you dream of falling, of flying, of being chased, or of facing an unseen presence in the dark, you are touching the very same symbolic field that the ancients described in their sacred texts and epic poems. The hero's journey is not just a story structure for Hollywood movies. It is the archetypal pattern of personal growth and transformation that every human being is called to undertake. The myths of creation are not just ancient cosmology. They are symbolic representations of the birth of consciousness itself. Psychology and mythology are not opposing forces. They are simply two different languages describing the same magnificent inner landscape. The neuroscientist measures the neurons firing in the brain, mapping the physical hardware of thought. The mystic The poet and the dreamer listen for the whispers of the soul, interpreting the symbolic software that runs on that hardware. The ultimate truth lies not in choosing one perspective over the other, but in realizing they are describing different levels of the same unified architecture. One speaks of the brain, the other of the mind, and both are essential to understanding the complete human experience. Therefore, the unconscious is not an empty void to be feared or a dark basement full of monsters to be conquered. It is a living, symbolic field, a sacred ground. To enter it is not to descend into madness, but to begin a sacred pilgrimage back to the source of your own being. Every dream, every powerful emotion, every strange synchronicity or meaningful coincidence, these are not random glitches in the system. They are messages from the hidden architect within you, invitations to explore a deeper dimension of yourself. Jung identified this inner organizing intelligence, this central architect, as the self. The self is the totality of who we are, both conscious and unconscious, and the blueprint of who we might become. It represents our fullest potential, our innate drive toward wholeness and integration. The ego, in its pride, often believes it is the master of the psyche, the sole ruler of our inner kingdom. But in truth, the ego is like a small candle held aloft in a vast, ancient cathedral. Its light is essential for navigating the immediate surroundings, but it cannot illuminate the entire structure. The cathedral itself, the entire psyche, is orchestrated by the self. Our task, then, is not to conquer the unconscious, to defeat our shadow, or to silence the inner voices. It is to enter this sacred space with reverence, humility, and curiosity. It is to learn its language of symbols, images, and light. It is to build a bridge between the conscious ego and the vast wisdom of the self. This process of integration, which Jung called individuation, is the ultimate journey of a lifetime. The journey toward self-mastery, toward true fulfillment, begins not with changing the outer world, but with developing an awareness of the hidden architecture within. Each layer of your psyche is a chamber of initiation, waiting to be explored. Each dream is a doorway to a deeper reality. Each emotion is a guide, pointing toward what needs your attention, what needs to be healed, and what needs to be brought into the light. The ancient alchemists sought to turn lead into gold. This was not just a chemical process, it was a metaphor for the transformation of the human soul. The alchemy of psychological transformation starts right here, in the willingness to see that your own mind is sacred ground, a temple of immense beauty and profound mystery. By honoring this inner world, you begin the great work of becoming who you were always meant to be. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the mind's temple. If this exploration resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the architecture of the psyche. Your presence here helps this community grow. Until next time, be curious and be kind to your mind.